Hello and welcome to a series of very special Dublin International Film Festival podcasts. This year's festival runs from the 22nd of February to the 2nd of March and promises to be an elevated cinema experience. I'm chatting with producer Nadim Cheikhrouha about his powerful documentary, Four Daughters. This is going to screen on Friday the 1st of March in the Lighthouse cinema at 6:30. But oh my God, so you're on the Oscar trail now, lobbying for Four Daughters. It's just, oh my God, it's so powerful and strong storytelling and beautifully conceived and empathetic and unique, just a very kind of unique structure. Talk to me about when this pitch fell on your desk. How did you come to collaborate on this?
So you saw it, right? I guess from what you said. Good. So it came to my desk because I was working with the director. So actually I was just finishing a movie with her. It was our first collaboration. It was in 2016, something like that. And we were doing a movie called Beauty and the Dogs that was released in 2017. And since we were working together and it was working well, let's say, our collaboration, she told me about her next project, which was this one, a documentary. And me as a producer, I do documentary, I do fiction. And sometimes people ask me about my, how do we call it? Editorial line in a way, which I don't have. The way I function is I choose the director before choosing the project. I have the feeling that making a film is complicated and the relationship with the director must be very strong. And if you get along with the director and he's interested or she's interested in a subject, we'll find a way to do it. For me, it's more like this. It's more the director that is important than the subject itself. Like if I love a subject and I don't like the director or I can't work with him or she, it wouldn't work. So anyway, we were doing the film and she talked to me about this project. And to be honest, I wasn't fully convinced.
Yeah, but on paper, I can very much so understand that because you were going, you're going to workshop it what and how will it work? And it's so I can
actually, it's funny because actually it's you're referring to the actual form or way of doing the project, which is what excited me. But before when it started, it was a regular, a normal, let's say, or a classical documentary. An observational documentary, or we call it sometimes fly on the wall. So the director wanted to tell the story of the family. And for me, it was interesting, but not enough to do a movie, just telling the story of that family was okay. It's okay, but there's something missing there. So, I was hesitating, but again, as I told you, most important thing was the relationship to the director. And I was thinking, if she thinks there is interesting there must be something interesting there. We need to find it. I didn't find it yet. I don't see it yet. But there must be. So it started like that. She started filming a bit and we were discussing the images. But still we couldn't find the way. We knew there was something missing. Meanwhile, we did another movie, which was her previous one called The Man Who Sold His Skin, which took us also many years to do. And then when we finished the shooting of that film, we came back to this project and discussed it again. And then, little by little came this form, let's say, or device, or we can call it. And as you said, it was not very clear how we will do it, but there was something exciting about it. All of a sudden the subject itself and the device made it really interesting and exciting.
Something so poignant and unique. It's something that okay, you're doing it well and it's going well because you have that relationship with the director and that it will work because of her creativity and ability to get down to it. What I think is really is the selling point as well as how do you sell the family on that? Like is this something you bring to the family? Is this something you workshop with the family? Because I think that the reason this film is so like
Yeah.
intimate, like and it's like it feels like when you're an audience member, when you're like you're reliving your past traumas in your mind, trying to figure it out, or you're replaying things over and over again, like
Yeah.
that way. But it's almost like you physicalized that process in a way. I
Yeah.
mean, and it's beautifully done. It's very sensitively rendered, and even like it's so unique. It's just glorious. Like when you actually watch it, and the intimacy, the actors that play the sisters and the mum when times get tough, which is a beautiful choice as well because
Hmm.
it relieves that responsibility. Like first of all, how did you sort of sell the family on, or like were they just on board? How do you build that rapport? That like it's very impressive.
Okay, so I'll try to answer and tell me if you need more things because it's a very big question.
Yeah.
But let's say when Kaouther, the director, started doing the documentary, the regular one, in 2016, we shot actually in 2000. Let me think, 21, I think, end of 21, December 21. So for those years, she kept going to the family and filming them, and little by little became very close to them. Especially that at that time they were a bit attacked on social media when they made public their story. People were judging them, so they were a bit of, let's say, outcast. Maybe the word is too strong, but in a way, they were. So the director developed a very close relationship to them, and little by little became very confident. I mean, became their confident. Do we say that?
Confidant, yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, like when they argue, they call her. When they have issues, they call her. Uh, and she became really close to them. Meanwhile, she was filming little by little, but without finding the way of saying the story. And the family was often asking, from time to time, so what's happening with the movie? What's happening with the movie? And they were very willing to tell their story. They were in the beginning when they told the story, they wanted people to know about it. But with social media and regular journalism, you don't have time to develop a complex reflection. So people judge you, and they were a bit disappointed by that. But at the same time, they wanted their story to be told in a fair way, let's say. So when came the idea of this device and set and shooting, the family was very excited about it. At the same time, we were all a bit excited and also nervous, of course, because we didn't know how it's going to happen, the shooting, what will happen with the actors, what will happen with the family, as they will relive their trauma, of course. Um, so yeah, basically this was the situation. Um, there has been a therapeutic work before the shooting. I can also elaborate on that. And the shooting itself was really a very, very strong moment in terms of creativity, but emotionally and in terms of the gathering of all people around the family, it was really very, very strong.
It is. I think just some of the moments, and you can even see when the actors are so affected, like
Yeah,
it's just you're reliving things. And I think, like as a performer, you're always finding truth in moments, but like it's very hard to look the truth of that in the face and
exactly.
embody it and really like find that understanding and then to be brought on that journey. Like it's so physical.
Yeah, sorry, I was going to say the movie is also, and this is one of the dimensions that I like, is also a movie about the work of actors. Exactly as you explained. Normally, for an actor, you need to ask questions to understand your character, etc. But in this case, the character you are playing is in front of you as a real person, so it makes a real uh, um, it can be a shock and an exciting experience also.
Yes. And yeah, and I suppose that truthful nature of the journey that you go in. Where was it filmed in sequence? The scenes.
In sequence, you mean in
In the
in the
order
same
that we
order?
see it.
Uh, Let me think. Not really, more or less, let's say, but not necessarily. Like the idea was, so as I said, Kaouther developed a very close relationship to the family. So when we started the shooting, she knew by heart all the events of the family, and we filmed a long interview of the characters to have like something. We call it a fil rouge in French, like a guidelines, and then each day we decided to shoot a memory. And again, the idea is that the actors were not aware of the story. So the idea was that, let's say we shoot the memory of the wedding today. So Olfa, tell the memory to the actors. Of course, Kaouther, the director, knows the memory, and we need a bit of organization, like to have a setup, of and costumes, etc. But the actors don't know anything. The real character says the story, the memory to the actors, and the idea is that the actors react as themselves, as person. So they play, they improvise, but they question also. They can ask questions, and then another memory comes, and then things happen. And in a way, that's why it's a documentary, because even the reactions of the actors are spontaneous. Nothing was written. Yeah.
What's so beautiful about this, but also like brilliant, is there's there's no guardedness. There's like
Mhm.
in the retelling of the story, and not even there's a rapport. Like it's almost like an all access pass to someone's memories. And I
Yeah.
think that's what it feels like when you're watching it. And is this something that was like consciously planned as you go, or was it something that was found in the form as you were filming?
Well, both, both. Like it was part of the project. Like also one of the dimension of the project, and again, what I like is the complexity of the project. And what we try to do is to keep the complexity, but do it in a very fluid, let's say, and easy way to watch. But there are many levels in the project. One of the levels, for example, is memory. How you remember things, how you bring out memory, how sometimes you can mix up memories, how you can contradict. I mean, sometimes one character says something and the daughter says, no, it didn't happen like this. And when you have actor questioning, you also remember new stuff and you have contradictions, and memory works like this. Sometimes you jump from a memory to another. So we knew that, I mean, the idea was to create the device for that, the possibility of such thing with the whole device we are describing. And at the same time, we didn't knew what will happen. I mean, on set, then magic happens. Then the encounter between the characters and the real and the actors can be working or not. Many things can happen. A reaction like the scene you are describing with the stepfather is, of course, not expected, but it happens because of the whole setup. So this was exciting. We created something, and the people who believed in the project, like financiers, told us, okay, it's exciting. We don't know what's going to happen with this. It's hard to imagine. We decide to trust you. And on set, or many times, actors were telling us, telling the director, what are we doing exactly? Uh, we don't know. Just go ahead. Let's do it. Let's go with the flow. And again, the setup and the fact that on set there was a very safe space, we can say, that we created. For example, one of the things we did is that we gathered the whole crew and we decided to write a kind of contract or constitution to say, it was a small crew, mostly feminine. and for each one to say what are the things that he don't like on the set, how to avoid toxic behaviors, stuff like that. So we had a very safe space in which the characters were feeling really comfortable, not threatened, not judged. Everybody was on the same mood. So things were really well. And even in that scene that you described, it was not, tension. It was emotion, basically,
Yeah. And yeah, you feel that breaking down of barriers. I did feel bad for that male actor though. He like it was obviously such a female led and dominated project, and men did not come off
Yeah.
well. Like he was
Yeah.
kind of embodying all the evils of society, and like a antagonist in different forms throughout the narrative. I'm like, I'm sure he like went home and just felt very sorry for himself.
Yeah. But, no, it was a spontaneous reaction because he was not expecting what was happening. It's true that the men has not the good part, let's say. But it's also a movie about patriarchy, how patriarchy is so present in society that can lead to such behaviors. And what is interesting in the movie is that the patriarchy is not represented by men, but by the Olfa character, by the woman, because she, we could say, integrated the patriarchy so much that she reproduces it herself in a way to maybe protect herself and the family, but she becomes the patriarchy and not the men around her because she's stronger than the men around her.
Yeah, like and you do get that, and how she's taken in by that stepfather figure, how she
Yeah,
enforces that restrictive rule. And again, what I think is so beautiful about this is how open the discussion is around that, and how
yeah,
self-aware and like I can't picture many people. Maybe it is because of the trauma and the like
no,
that
they're
they've been
fascinating.
looking. Yeah, that the fact that she's saying I did all this and I understand and it was done to me and I like
Yeah,
regret it, and like so openly and so understanding and honestly, and doesn't like it's not that there's no shame. Like she just like she's so open about saying these are the things that happen. Like this is stuff
yeah,
that I have done that I know is bad, instead of like
exactly.
instead of that guarded way that people you'd be like, okay,
Yeah.
well maybe I did do that, and it's not going to make me look
No, no,
very good in
this
the
is
film.
the fascinating thing. They are totally aware of, they're very conscious. They don't, I mean, the mother, she doesn't hide, as you say, some people say she's a very bad person. She has that in a way, but she's not only that, and she's very aware of that, and she can try to explain where it comes from. She says that she tried to struggle against it, but she doesn't deny the things that she did. And even with the daughter, it's very fascinating to see how much they are very, how can I say, conscious about things, not in an intellectual way, because they didn't go to school, but they are aware of things, and they have a very natural way to say them. And also, one of the fascinating things is that they can tell you horrible, tough stories, but they made you laugh, and they laugh. They also laugh of it. I think it's a way of being resilient. When life is too hard, maybe it's their way to cope with life. So this makes the dynamic of the movie also. You have hard moments, very joyful moments, almost at the same time. You go from crying to laughing. Yeah, yeah,
And like, and 100%. And I think you get the dynamics within the family, the family siblings. And I think like there's such in a way, like Ulf, everyone, like there's a warmth to them. There's an openness in the way that they communicate. And there's like just a layer of honesty that I just amazed to see on screen. But it's all peered back to, yeah, like all the shocking level of experiences that are described in the film that have happened to them over the course of their life. And then when you actually see the girls, like they're still almost children. Like they're so young, the youth in their faces. And when you see
Yeah,
like the life experience that they've had to pass through, it's almost shocking because like you almost go, oh, this is a retrospective. This is like years later and them almost reflecting on it. And you expect them to be like these wizened older like women
yeah,
approaching middle age, and you're like, Jesus Christ, they're actually children and that
yeah.
impact. And I can only imagine like living that day to day on the ground while filming. Was that a difficult process? And then again in the edit, was that difficult to do? Are you able to detach yourself? Is there anything that you to do to sort of protect yourself there?
The edit was hard. The edit was really, as I said, the shooting was really a great experience. Uh, the edit was hard because first we had a lot of material. I mean, we shot almost continuously. You know, it's not like when you have a regular shooting, you shoot a scene for 30 seconds and then you change the setup and you shoot again. So every day you shoot only a few minutes. Here we had two cameras and we shot all the time. So we had hours and hours and hours, I think almost 80 hours of rushes. The edit was tough. Also, as I said, the idea was to keep the complexity of the, of their life, of the different levels of acting, of interactions, etc., to keep all those level, but at the same time to have a movie where you can follow from the beginning to the end without, being lost, not understanding anything with who is that person, what is happening, when is it, etc., which was a challenge. So yeah, editing was tough. The first real edit, let's say, was like 5 hours and a half, and were so many sub-subjects, sub-stories. So to be able to arrive to this, 1 hour 45 minutes of the fluid film was the big challenge.
So is there a film? Is there, or sorry, is there a series there that Netflix can pick up maybe if anybody's
Yeah,
yeah.
we were laughing at that during the shooting and the editing sometimes, like if we could do a series easily with what we have. So,
Yeah.
yeah, Netflix, if you hear us,
Yeah.
we can do something.
Well, yeah. Oscar's loud. So that's your commission. Yeah, because it's like I must say though the narrative and the way it's presented is sort of the way the information unfolds and how like these women serve as a microcosm for the politics and that sort of backlash, the how how things start to manifest around them. It's actually done in a really deft way. Like it's very subtle and it's very interesting to watch, and you're being brought on this like a very immersive
Mhm.
journey as a viewer. You were saying dealing with that much footage, how do you decide what goes in and what goes out? Like what was out?
It's hard to say, but in the beginning, it's very hard. Like you try to find the structure of the film. So let's say you go through different directions. You, anyway, when you find your structure, then you start reducing, let's say, and taking off some sub some sub stories or some scenes. Sometimes those scenes come back at the end of the editing. It's hard to explain, but when you are in the process of editing, and it's a moment I like very much as a producer. I'm very present in the editing as a third observer, let's say. But the film becomes almost alive. The film itself decides what scene should be part of it and what not. Um, for example, there are scenes that we all love, like we all are in love with that scene, but the film rejects it. It's like there is no way it can be in the movie. It takes you out of the movie, and the movie is more important than each scene. And sometimes it's the opposite. You have a scene that take out from the beginning, and then few months later you feel like there is something missing there, and hop, it's like a puzzle, like you have the puzzle and you are looking for one missing piece and you find it last moment and it fits perfectly, and then you see the film, you test it. We do a lot of testing because at one moment you don't have how you call it, distance, to decide. So you test, and from some reaction, you can feel that, it's it's fluid, it's perfect, or at the moment, there's always, 3, 4 people telling you, I don't know why at the minute 40, I feel lost, and so, yeah, it's like this. The film is alive and almost decides by itself. It's very exciting, the process of editing, especially in documentary,
God,
because
I'd
in
say,
fiction,
yeah,
everything is written, so it's not the same. In documentary, you literally write the film in editing.
that's fascinating. Talk to me as well about like the funding involved in co-production funding. Was this something like, did you have your funds at the very start of the film? Was it something that you'd get development funding at the beginning, go shoot a piece, like cobble it together? Was it like one big lump sum? Did you get post-production funding to kind of finish it once you had like how did that work? Because the polish as well is beautiful. The
So,
sound, the mix.
yeah. Well, I'm glad you say that, because we also try to work on something beautiful, even though it's a documentary, and sometimes in documentary don't control the image. In this case, it's a documentary, but with a reality that is not existing. In fact, we recreate a kind of reality. So we were able to control the set, uh, and the image and the sound and the music and etc. So regarding the funding, we had, let's say, both kind of funding, some in post-production, but main before. We didn't have development money, because when we were developing the film as a regular documentary, we were not convinced fully percent, but the financiers were even less. So nobody wanted to finance us. And, so we spent, some time trying to find some money, trying to find the way. It didn't work. We were about to abandon the project many times, and we kept coming back to it. And when we found this device, that was really exciting for us. Like, we could feel, sometimes you have an idea and it's a good idea. You don't know why, but you feel it. And we had that feeling that it was really something great. And as a way to test it, I was pitching the film like that. It's a story of Olfa and her daughters. Okay, people are not really interested, but it's said that way. It's said through it's a making of a false film, I was saying at that time. So you will have the real characters, the actors, they will tell the story, and then you could feel with with the financier, that they were really excited, like, this is great. So when we find that device, financing went quite quickly, honestly. So we gathered the money to do the shooting, and the more we find money, the more we had the possibility of adding days of shooting, adding a second camera, adding days of editing, etc. And then we find some money in post-production, and yeah, that was it.
It was such a long time in the making from conception to shooting, and then I presume the edit, if you're trawling through that much and finding it and honing it, it takes time. Did anything shift or change as you were going through from what you had originally conceived?
As I said, the whole project was changed. But since we found that device and the shooting, not really. It was more a matter of organization there, because Olfa and her daughters have a very complicated life. So for example, they were living in Tunisia and they moved to Egypt. So we were wondering, where shall we shoot? How can we do? And we didn't talk about that. Um, the actress who plays Olfa is a very, very famous actress in the region. She does a lot of shootings of TV shows, movies in Egypt. So, like, finding 2 weeks with her was really complicated. So the challenge was more, okay, how can we gather Olfa with her constraints of real life, and the actress Hind with the constraints of a famous actress. This was the main challenge, like organization, uh, but apart from that, it was a quite simple shooting in a way, because it was a small location, small crew. Um, yeah, it was more what will happen out of it, how will people react, and it went really well. So yeah.
And yeah, I was thinking that with the obviously it's gone down an absolute treat with regards to audiences and how it's been picked up around the world, and now God, like, you know, a little statue in
Yeah.
the future, like, here's hoping. But was it terrifying showing the final piece to the girls, or was it something you were working with them on construct? Like, did they see different cuts of it? How, like,
Hmm.
is it something they didn't see till it was in a cinema? I'm always curious to how,
Yeah.
like, what that
But
relationship looks like.
uh, coming back to the previous question, one of the challenges, while, the shooting, I said, was okay, the editing was hard. One of the main question was what, how can I say, how will the film be? At one point like you, we knew it was good, but you never know, we never know how will the reaction will be, etc. So one of the challenges was, is it is it as good as we think it is? And we started showing the film in editing, and the reactions were really crazy. So we were a bit confident. So to come back to your question, to this question, uh, of course, so we didn't show them anything during the editing. We were in contact. We offered them, the director offered them to watch the editing, and they said, no, we trust you. And at the same time, we will never agree. You will have to do 3 movies anyway. So we trust you. And we wanted them to see the film when we knew that the film was in Cannes, which came quite early and as a big surprise, because Cannes in competition, they rarely take documentaries, and they answered really quickly and they loved the film. So this was exciting. Then we thought, okay, now we really need to show them the film before Cannes. And they even said, no, we will see it with everyone in Cannes. And we said, no, you cannot see it with anyone. It's your story. You have to see it in a calm space, take time of reaction. So we sent them the movie. Olfa didn't want to see it. She said, I know I'll be horrible. I don't want to see it. We told her, you have to see it, Olfa. So she asked the two girls, Taysir and Aya, to see it. And we were not afraid, but of course a bit stressed about their reaction. So they saw the film, and it's funny, they sent us a video. They were so excited about the film. They were, crying and laughing and saying, thank you so much. The film is amazing. It's great. We love it. It's amazing. I mean, it was really beyond our expectation. So then they said to Olfa to see it. They told Olfa to see it. She saw it. And again, she said, thank you so much. I didn't imagine that I will be so present in the film. It's true that I can be horrible, but I'm not only horrible. So they loved it. And then we went to Cannes together. The screening was just fabulous. Again, in Cannes, we didn't know how people will react. And you have an audience of 2,000 people. It's Cannes. Everything is bigger. When people love, they love so much. When they hate, they just kill you. So the screening was absolutely fabulous. And since then, they travel with the film. They were in Germany to present the film. They were in Saudi Arabia. So they could travel more with the film. It's just a matter of visa issue, but they love being with the film. And so, yeah.
And actually, one of the things that it does so well is you track the trauma, you track the pain and the fallout of all of this and the impact on this family from what Olfa had to deal with when she was young, what
Yeah.
had happened with her sister. Like, I mean, that layer of the kind of elders in her family forcing things upon her kind
Yeah.
of reinforcing that on her kids, and then the next generation of daughter who's suffering as a result of all of this. And I think, like,
Exactly.
deftly put, which is great, because it's not like, oh, this is a message, but it's like
Yeah.
the weight of everything is sitting underneath that makes it so powerful. Is there any times that, like, I don't know, that you again, I think as someone who's, trying to get this across the line, working across the line, but then dealing with the weight of that it sort of gets to you, or are you able to distance yourself from that?
Me as a producer,
Yeah.
I mean, the experience of the shooting again was really, really strong. Very emotional. I mean, I met Olfa, not long before the shooting. She was really in connection with the director, but I met her really and the daughters, especially on the shooting. And immediately we bonded very strongly. Taysir, for example, has the age of my daughter, and I felt there is a very, I don't know, father daughter relationship. She also lacks a figure of a reassuring father. We can see it in the movie, maybe because of that. So I don't know. Maybe it's weird, but it was very much more positive experience than negative one. And I think also it comes from the fact that we shot at the right moment. I mean, they were telling traumatic stories, but they were in a way healed, not from them, because we didn't have a therapist on the shoot, but the therapy happened long time before the shoot. It happened, and we only shot and Kaouther, since she knew very well the family, when they were ready to shoot, and they were asking to. And as again in the scene that you mentioned, which was tough, it was interesting because everybody was afraid, the actor was afraid, but it was the character herself who was telling us, but we need that scene. Please tell him to come back. I'm over it. I'm healed from that. She even goes further. She tells him, tell him it's a dialogue I learned so that he can play the scene. So she totally reversed the situation, and it was like this on set. I mean, sometimes they were telling stories where all the crew was crying. But, and then after that, we all hug and, it was very, very strong experience. And since then, we're very close. We talk to each other all the time. And by the way, it's Taysir's birthday today. So if she hears us, happy birthday, Taysir.
Oh.
So no, it was very strong experience. And this is also what I like in documentary.
Yeah, and I think that is the thing, that it's healing, but I mean it's still it's a beautiful watch, and I think it's like the darkness and the resilience and the power of these women and the support that they have for one another.
Yeah.
So and you were saying, like, again with themes sort like loss and family and grief being out there, that I presume would resonate. Like it's just one of these universal things. Has there been any kind of personal response from people that, like of how much it meant to them, the film?
Yes, this is the crazy thing. I mean, we're telling the story of a family in Tunisia with the particular context, but we showed the film in really almost everywhere. And every time, there is people who connects personally to the story without the same background at all. I mean, we had people telling us, remind me of my Italian grandma or Spanish grandma, or I have 4 sisters and I have the feeling that I live the same thing. Same thing, meaning relationship between sisters, siblings, and mother, and not, of course, terrorism, etc. You mentioned the political background of Ireland, and I'm sure that people can connect to that through traumas that happen for political reasons in the past generation that are still affecting the newest generation. So, and we had that everywhere. No, this also, yeah. So it's fascinating to see how people can connect to a story like that from different and different ages. Also, we had in the beginning, the audiences are most often, let's say, the regular art house audience, which is more age. But often for this film, we had young girls coming to see the film, 14, 15, 16, coming with their parents, or separately, one see the film and talks to the parent, or the other way. So it's nice. And again, this is the film. It's about generations and transmission, and also it's different. I mean, from, how can I say, mother-daughter relationship is something really fascinating. I mean, I saw that also within my family, so it's something very specific. It's not the same that mother, son, father, son. So yeah, this is the thing that I think makes it universal.
Definitely. It's such a universal film. It absolutely is. Thank you so much for chatting to us.
Thank you.
It's so beautiful. We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much.
And I won't even say it to jinx it, but I'm sure you're well in there. You got my vote, even though I can't vote. Yeah.
Thank you. I know there are voters in Ireland, so if they can watch the film at least.
Yes, definitely. Make sure to go see it in DIFF if you can. So it's screening there on the 1st of March. Bums on seats. It's gorgeous to see it on the big screen. But yeah, best of luck. It's just wonderful.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You can explore the Dublin International Film Festival programme and buy tickets now at diff.ie.